Today we're doing a short tutorial on how to use the Diva fabric handling system. Greg is now loading a roll of fabric if you would want to print on the inside of the fabric. If your fabric producer had rolled it for that, please note how the fabric falls when you're printing to the inside. You would pull it down, the fabric, and begin over the dancer bar. For today's purposes though, the demonstration is going to be in detail for printing on the outside of the fabric because 90% of the fabric companies roll to print on the outside of the fabric. Greg's now putting the fabric on and tightening down at the end the core chuck with the screw to make sure the fabric roll stays in place. And if you note on the left, the blue tape on the roller system is a guide for where you would want your fabric to begin when you're printing on the other side. So the edge of your salvage should be to the right of the blue tape. Okay, now Greg is going to show you the switches on the panel box to help you get the fabric started to wind it through the system.
So now we'll engage the motor by selecting the forward on the run position. Now you'll see that the fabric is actually going in a counterclockwise position. Now we raise the dancer bar and it'll actually go forward. So it's feeding the fabric. So we'll raise the fabric about head level. Kind of trap it with your leg. And that actually stops the fabric from feeding. We'll slide it underneath the printer carriage and position it so. So as we're ready to pull the fabric through, we want to make sure that the motor is engaged, the run is actually in stop position. We want to make sure that both the front and the rear speed are at 50%. That's a typical run speed. So once we see that the fabric is pulled through, we want to go ahead and select the switch to forward. And now you'll see that it's actually going in a counterclockwise position. Okay. So now we'll lift the front cover, which accesses the fabric from the back. We'll pull the fabric through. And just drape it over that front roller. Okay, so now we're going to want to make sure that the fabric in the back is tight and no wrinkles all the way across. This will ensure that it feeds through the print head properly.
Use your front down joggle button to advance the fabric once you pull it through the print zone to approximately this length. One thing that if you're using a lighter fabric and you don't want to have this much waste, you can stop it when it gets to this point and use some heavy clips to give it weight to print until it gets to this length and you can attach it to the core. Okay, Greg's going to show you now how easy it is to attach it to the core.
So now what we'll do is ensure that the fabric is on the outside of the dancer bar. We come up between the two center bars that are actually holding the motor and bring the fabric to the core. We'll take a piece of masking tape. We'll fasten it to the right side of the core. And then the same on the left side of the core. And also if you can reach in the middle, fasten in the middle, just for some added security. Okay, so now the fabric is ready to print. So as you see, on this position, the dancer is not engaged. So what we want to do is use this jog button in the forward position, you see it's intermittent, so every time you touch it, it actually makes the motor forward. We'll go ahead and push it forward until the dancer is engaged. Now once the dancer is engaged, we're ready to print. Okay, now since the fabric is ready to print, we'll ensure that the run button is in the forward position. We have both the front speed control and the back speed control, which drive the speeds of the unwind and the winder motor. We'll make sure that those are on both 50%. Now you also have the on and off button. If the button is turned on, the blue light will come on, showing that there is power to the motors. Okay, so from this point, we're ready to print.
Now that you know how to feed the fabric through the printer and start printing, just like your printer, once a week, you should do a maintenance check of the fabric handling system. People can lean against the bar, the rollers, or other parts of the fabric handling system that could cause sometimes printing issues with streaking. So Greg's going to go through with you what you should look for each week with the tools we provide you when you purchase the printer.
What we'll do is we supply a T-bevel. This is the T-bevel. This will actually check the angle of the swivel arm. So what we'll do is we just place that T-bevel up there on top of the main bridge and the swivel arm. And take that T-bevel, go to the opposite side. And you can see how this is off. Now what we do to adjust this, we loosen the 3 perimeter screws and then the center screw, and we lift up to where the angle is exact to the opposite side. Tighten the center screw and tighten the perimeter screws. And a good hand tight is all you really need. Now what we also have to do is, once this is pretty much level, we want to ensure that the belt, the drive belt on this side is fairly tight. The way to ensure that it's tight typically is use your finger, press. You want probably a 1/16 inch deflection. So that's pretty good tension on that belt. Now, if it was too loose or too tight, we have 2 set screws that actually adjust these pulleys. So as you turn it, you see it actually loosens the belt when you're turning it counterclockwise. Now, when you tighten those pulleys clockwise, you can see that it increases the tension of the belt. So again, 1/16 deflection is all we really need to ensure that the belt won't slip. Okay, you also notice these beads with the riser on both sides of the printer, back and front. Now these adjustment beads are to increase the tension or decrease the tension of your dancer bar. So as you pull up on the beads, you can see that there's little tension put on the bar. It just kind of swings there. Typically, you want it to just drop to the lower position and not bounce. Like that. And that gives an equal tension to where it allows the fabric to feed without any restriction.
On certain fabrics, depending on the weight of the fabric, you will need to use the tensioning bars. So what Greg's going to do now is show you how to use the joggle button in the back to advance your fabric.
So we jog it forward. You see how it advances the fabric. Come under the dancer bar. Lift it just beyond the roller. And then what we'll do is we'll S-wrap it through the dancing bar. Continue to jog it forward. To give you just enough fabric to get to the upper rollers. Feed it through.